Hey, it's another day in paradise. Today I'm going to be working on some rack shelving for our shipping container. Just to get stuff off the floor and condense it down a little bit. Stuff's just spread out, all laying on the floor, needs to be organized. Also picked up this Joby, I think, Gorilla Pod for my GoPro, so I'll be giving that a shot to see how it holds on, and should be okay. It's rated for a lot bigger camera, so we'll give it a shot anyway. It's really dark in the container. I'm not sure how much usable video I'm going to get, but I do have a pretty big floodlight, so we'll give it a shot, see if this turns out. I don't know how well you can see this, but we'll try with this camera. I got the back one installed there. You can see I'm using Unistrut and just their normal braces. These are ones I've modified a little bit to have an extra bracket on them for weight capacity. I did that a long time ago. I just had those laying around from another project. So I'm just bracing this up here with these load stabilizers because this roof sags. So you got to lift the roof up with one and then use the other one to hold the bracket in place while you bolt it in. It's not actually attached to the container, it's freestanding. I may end up selling this container someday, likely going to do that. So I'm not attaching it permanently to anything, it's just a freestanding shelf. Some of the junk I gotta get, the long stuff on the floor, you just can't work in here. So I'm gonna build, these are two of them. I got this one yet to do here in this corner. I've got to cut the strut for one more here in the middle to get a third one that won't be as load bearing, but to hold the middle up of the long things like the PVC pipe. And then I'm gonna make some brackets for to attach to this vertical piece here that will actually hold the goods. I'll show you how I do that in a little bit. All right, back to cutting. Now I'm just moving some of the stuff out of the way so I can put the middle brace in. There's stuff everywhere. And not so much. It's not gonna work. It needs to sit out. Proud of that. So we'll have to do one of these. Not a huge deal. So we'll go to the one that's just to the left of the little mark. I'm gonna do my measuring and we'll cut one. Alright, here's a bit of a close-up. The GoPro is probably too far away to see what I'm doing. I'm just bolting these together. Now they don't fit perfectly in this corner because of the difference between the roof and the sidewall. So I've just done it like this. The load's being completely supported by the brace. I'm not putting any weight on this part. It's just to stabilize it, to keep the load will be on the vertical pieces, just to keep it from toddling. Anyway, here's a little bracket I made. Just welded here, a little piece of flat bar stock. I think it's 3/4 inch or something. Originally I welded these on the outside corner, which didn't work because they won't mate with the Unistrut correctly. They sit all crooked. So I had to redo them and weld on the inside here where it doesn't get in the way. Alright, more brackets. So mine I am cutting to 90 5/8, which makes them a good snug fit, but you can actually work it in by hand. And what I found is that every one of these containers, every brand and everything is different. This is a CAI, and depending on how much they've been beat up and bashed around the world, depends on how accurate that dimension will stay. Like the second one I did, it was the 90 5/8 was too tight because the forklift or something's bashed the ceiling and bent it just a little bit, so I couldn't force the piece in. I had to shave like a 1/16 off or an 1/8 off, and then it fit. So that dimension is not consistent. And the same thing is true with the vertical dimension. The vertical dimension is pretty close, but welds and things like that, and I clean the floor, of course, this is dirty here, but welds and inconsistencies in the floor will cause that dimension to also shift a little bit. But the vertical dimension is a lot more stable than the horizontal dimension, usually. One of the other containers I did where I welded these, the horizontal was off by up to 1/4 inch on each one. I think the farthest off from the ones on the end, since they're braced across, are usually pretty exact. They don't get bent up. But I think the one that I had that was in the middle, where it was bent really bad, was like a good 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch shorter across than the ones on the end. So anyway, just double check all of them. Don't cut them all at once. Measure everyone individually if you're going to do this. Ta-da! Alright, now the other side, if I can get back there. Alright, this one's good and sturdy. Now, before I release all this bracing, I'm gonna brace these all together with just one piece, just to keep them from falling left and right. Most of them are pretty tightly wedged in there, but that would benefit from the stability of not toppling. So we're going to put one more piece in. Just bolt it directly to the top here probably. That was just to hold it while I got this up here so it didn't fall. Now I'm going to do that end, but it's too short. It won't go all the way across, so I'm only going to attach it to 2 of these, which I think will probably be okay. Alright, I'll try to do this with this new mount. Hey, that works really good. Let's let the tension up off. Worked. See, because I moved the one end, it's that 10-foot piece of Unistrut's too short to reach all the way to the end, which means my 10-foot pieces of stuff are not going to go end to end, and I'm going to have to figure out what to do there. There we go. Ta-da! I ended up moving this back that far, one of those vertical beams, so that my stock will actually stay on this. It'd be kind of a pointless shelf if I didn't, so I ended up having to do that. So now what I'm going to use is these offcuts here and make just a little lightweight shelf here at the top that will hold up these PVC pipes. They're not very heavy, they're just long and bulky. So I'm going to mount that up there real quick. Alright, I decided I'm going to suspend this end instead of just leaving it cantilevered off of that top strut, just to give it a little more stability, and it'll also prevent things from rolling off of there and hitting me in the head. So I'm just attaching 3 pieces of this 1/2-inch hardware right here. I'm not going to do any more shelves today because I don't have any more 1/2-inch strut nuts. I used like 2 boxes of them, so I'm just going to finish it up with this and then put all this long stuff up there out of my walkway and start cleaning up in here. Well, I'm going to call this good. I ran out of hardware. I only planned on doing the 3 pieces across, but I have so many of these offcuts. I can do 3 more shelves, or 2 more shelves, so I can do 3 total. But I'm just using my scrap all thread and nuts and bolts and things. I didn't intend to do this, so otherwise I probably would have done one single run all the way down and put it on the same piece, though that's a lot of all thread to run nuts up. It's annoying. Anyway, I'm probably going to go buy some nuts and bolts later and extend this. I think on this side I'm going to come down to here and then stop, and then on this one I'm going to go down a little bit farther. I can move the chairs over and all the flat stuff on this side, and then I can put the chairs under here because this won't go down all the way, and start moving some of the storage over here and tighten this up a lot, make me some more room in this container. It's just a lot of unusable space right now. So anyway, that's kind of the plan. That top one, if I would have had more Unistrut, I would have probably made that top one go all the way across because I'm much shorter than that and I can walk under it. It'd be really nice to be able to store something big like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, though it's a 10-foot span, so it wouldn't sit right. I need to put another brace back here in between these two to hold up a sheet of plywood. Or I guess I could just put it on these back two, here and there. I don't know, I might do that someday, but I'm not trying to do that right now. I'm just trying to use the scraps I have to clean this place up without spending a lot of money. All right, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I was able to find 2 more long unused pieces of Unistrut, so I ended up putting 2 of them in there. I think I'll just leave those back too, so that I can support something long but not 10 feet long. So maybe like a 4x8 sheet of plywood or something similar up there on the top. But I was able to free up a lot of floor space, and that was the goal. And I used everything that I had. So I'm gonna need to get some more nuts and bolts and strut nuts and use the rest of those offcuts to make shelves down the sides. And I'll probably end up with longer pieces of Unistrut for that, or all thread, because these were just things I had left over, and I'll just purpose make one instead. So yeah, I think it turned out exactly like I want it to. I can walk under it without hitting my head. I got a bunch of stuff off the floor. I got a couple more steps to go to get it totally cleaned up in here, but already a marked improvement. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.